What's up, guys? I'm your boy Rusian, and this is Broke Not Dead Godforge Edition. And today we're gonna be doing a recap on the podcast that just happened last Thursday. But the reason why it took me so long is because I had to do some research just to give the numbers right. Alright, guys, so I know the title is kind of ominous, but it's not a lie. It's not clickbait. So, one of the main things, and I had to make notes because it's a lot to cover in a sense, and I'm trying to do in the minimum amount of time, so I'm not wasting your time or mine. Alright, so one of the main things, as we know, Fateless, it is an indie gaming studio, right? Plain and simple. Now, they talked about, as you guys saw, you met Tom on this podcast, and I'm going to link the podcast below, but one of the most important things is that I mentioned to you guys how they're focusing the lore, the music, and all those things, right, in the game. What is amazing for a small studios, in the most on their first release. Now, on top of that, they actually revealed they're using MoCap suits, not just to capture cinematics, what, yes, some indie studios may use, but also hero movements involved to the gameplay. Now, first of all, you guys have to remember that this is a hero collector game, okay? Coming from an indie studio, and somehow they're doing stuff that even some other studios in the most indie, they will not go all the way, even on regular titles. Because the main thing is, MoCap, and the most, not just the capturing, but also the processing and everything, it becomes very expensive. So what indie studios usually do, and I did research on that, I promise, they usually buy early sets, rigged sets, basic movements and everything. Okay, it just makes life easier, makes life cheaper, but Fateless is not settling for that. They actually are doing for their title something a lot bigger. That's what I keep bringing, that Fateless wants to make that an IP, Godforge an IP, and not just a cash grabber, okay? So, as was mentioning on the podcast, Tom, for example, he worked Canadian animation show, and then right after school, he actually worked on Space Jam. As you guys know, 1996 Space Jam was very animation centric in the most, because at the time, as you probably know, at least if you were born early 90s, maybe even 80s, that CGI wasn't that much of a thing back then. Okay, computers didn't have that power, all right? So one of the main things is, Fateless have been putting themselves with some people that have a lot of experience, something that a lot of times is skipped by a lot of studios. As I mentioned, they have people that worked on Star Wars Galaxies, Ultima series, now Space Jam, other gaming animations. So this is what I'm trying to say. Like, I get really hyped about this game, okay? I know I haven't seen the alpha yet. I have seen some footage from the pre-alpha like everybody else. But we know the alpha is coming within a month, probably less than a month, as by my calculations. It's a solid game that people are putting a lot of love into. And basically it's because this is a game made by gamers. So they know what you want. It's not like some guy in a suit that, he goes like, hey, here's money, make me a game that makes me money. And pretty much that's why a lot of games, they may survive for a little while, but then eventually they die. And usually some of those games die really fast. So, because of that, the mentality in the industry a lot of times is make as much money as you can, make as fast as you can, so you get, what you put in returns, and then whatever happens, right? Now, Fateless is not trying to do this. I know that Simon, one of his biggest arguments has always been how some games, they really try to, pretty much take your wallet. And that's not something they're trying to do. Yes, they have to keep the lights on. Yes, they have to have returns. They have people, that put money on the game, and they're going to want the returns. But this is not the only main concern, okay? They want to give an experience to every single one of the players. And every time I see a podcast or I'm introduced to another member of their staff, I'll be honest, they have the right people and they have everything to succeed. And I don't know. If you guys want to know more, really, you should watch the podcast. I'm not going through everything on the podcast. I usually take one topic that I think is interesting that should hype you guys up. And, yeah, get interested. Sign up for the alpha, the beta. Probably going to make the alpha, so I heard. Yeah, so show some appreciation. Go to the Fateless YouTube. Watch some of the videos, very interesting stuff in there. Sign up for this channel, give me a like, leave me a comment, just to help the algorithm to know I'm here. And as always, I'll see you in the game.